A system is not the opposite of care, okay? And a system is what protects your capacity to care, okay? And hopefully what's going to happen is you'll feel the difference between a practice that runs and a practice that runs you, because we want to be able to run the practice. We want to be in control of everything that's going on, don't we? That's why we don't employ other people, because we think nobody else can do it. Only we can do it. But if we put things into a system, then we have more capacity to do more and different things, to learn more, to understand more. Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. If you want to connect with me, always check the show notes, because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How the devil are you? So, who are we here for? We're here for the solo practitioner generally, or the practitioner in a group practice who actually works alone, which is kind of our modus operandi, isn't it? So who are we? We are naturopaths, we're nutritionists, we're herbalists, we're homeopaths. We are therapists of some kind working maybe in a group. As works out, it does tend to be by ourselves, doesn't it? And we're in private practice. It's very rare that in our business we're actually employed by somebody else. Or what we can be is we are actually paying somebody to be in their rooms or to be in their space. And they do provide some things for us, but we still have to generally find our own clients, have our own systems, and get the work done. Okay, see the clients, do the thing. So June, right? We're in June now. So June, our overarching, let me look at my piece of paper, systems and simplification. So it's clinical systems, so how the consults run, how we run them, how we look at them, how we work them, and then marketing systems. So it's going to be the same as May. We will have 2 podcasts that are half for listening to as you're hanging out and doing whatever. And the other half of that podcast is for people in the strategy lab. And that's easy for you to jump in and be in there and do the workbook or do the rest of the content. And then we have 2 that are encourages for everyone. So that's just my old style podcast, where I'm giving you all those tips and tricks. So if you're someone who enjoys just listening, you're not at a space right now to be doing the work, or it's not something that you're on for, whatever, then you're going to love the starts of all of these and the encourages. You're still going to get something from it. That is the point. Okay. It's not that I am here only for the people in the strategy lab, but I've got to make my life simpler. I have to make my life work for me as well. And this is a way of making sure that the people who are paying me are getting bang for their buck. All right. So the Podia, where I store everything, has changed. And that was kind of one of the motivators. There is now a better chat function. There's now a better community function in there. Nobody's used it yet. Everyone in Strategy Lab has been emailing me. And a few people have, though, been encouraged to book their one-to-ones with me. So that's been great. So I've seen a few more of you. That is because it's all about what you can do and when you can do it and how you can get to it. It's not me telling you what to do. It's not me who's doing the work for you. We have our own business. We have our own clients. So we need that support and we need ongoing support and we need to know we're part of a community. So what we're starting with this week are treatment plans, treatment systems. Okay. So our opening question really is, how many times this week did you build a treatment plan from a completely blank page? Now, if you're in the strategy lab, you will know that all of my intake forms, so when somebody books in, there's that initial intake form. There are the pages that I fill out while the client's with me. There are pages that I can send home with them. All of that stuff's in there anyway. But you might look at that and go, well, it doesn't really suit me because I do this other thing or whatever. So what we're working towards today is you knowing they're there. You can look at them. You can use those. You can replicate those. You can change those. Remember, you've got AI to help you to do that. But what we need to do is for you in your specific instance is to build that treatment plan for you. Okay. But we don't want to reinvent the wheel, do we? We don't want to be doing things over and over and over again. And the stress of the consult just constantly, it's full on that stress. It doesn't leave us.
because it's exhausting. That stress is exhausting, and it's quietly exhausting. So at the end of this public episode, everyone, in Strategy Lab, of course, you get your extra piece and you'll get the workbook inside Podia where it's all stored. So where are we to start with? I do have notes because this is, it's a podcast and it's here for your enjoyment, but it's also education. So I'm trying to stick to a plan. So I do have notes. So what is the hidden tax? We're going to call it a tax of starting from scratch. So because every consult starts from zero, we've just had the budget, haven't we, here in Australia? So everybody's talking about the tax time. So I thought we'd call it a tax rather than the hidden struggle or the hidden everything else. It's the hidden tax of starting from scratch each and every time we see a client. So the consult always begins at zero and we have a blank case-taking page, and when I say every consult, I mean the first consult when we haven't met somebody all the way through to the third, fourth, fifth consult, whatever it is. We've got that, what did I say last time, scramble. Now, if you've been using the system that I have in the Strategy Lab already, that never happens to you anyway. But it's a good idea for us to look at this again, look at it in a different way, and make sure that we're achieving what you need for you. So when we're rebuilding treatment plans from memory, rather than having a duplicate system or a system that we can use over and over, there's a systems gap there. And of course, because, you're trained to treat people and trained to build operational systems. But the simple fact is it's exhausting not having some sort of a system in place. So what's our real cost? All to do with tax, isn't it? We've got decision fatigue by 2 p.m. Our consults run over time. Our notes, they don't seem to talk to each other. There's no plan across what we're doing across our systems. And then we've got the pile up at the end of the week of things that need doing and how we're going to do things. So it's probably, if you have a time problem, it's probably not necessarily a time problem, but rather a template problem. So we've got to really think about that. How can I use templates effectively for me? And why do we resist systems? We do resist systems as practitioners, which is odd, but it's got a lot to do with our training and that we use somebody else's system. We're at Torrens or at Endeavour or whoever it is that is our educator, and we're using their systems. Then we leave, we don't have their systems, we start creating our own because we don't have someone on reception, we don't have someone doing those things for us, we don't have someone in dispensary, but we also don't have a lecturer, we don't have a P1 and a P2 and all of those things. So when we resist, it's because every client is different. I mean, yes, that's true, but they're all still human and they are still hopefully within your scope of practice, not outside of it. So there's something that you have knowledge about. You don't have to be totally niched, although being niched is much easier to run a practice because then you're not having to learn every single time you see a client. You're learning a specific area. And that will change over time. When I was first out in practice, I thought everybody had menopause and there was nothing else out there. Even though I had all this pediatric training, I was a pediatric nurse, I knew all about the ped side of things, but there was all menopausal. And then I had lots of teenagers and I'm like, well, my children are little, I've got toddlers. And then the little children started coming as well. But you will find that even though perhaps you're not utterly niched in an area, you will find that you will tend to have repeat business in the same sort of area because those people talk to other people, they share that information, and you've got to promote to one area. So we're going to talk about those systems and marketing systems in a fortnight, okay, when we go through those systems. But this one is about your treatment plan, okay? So when we think, every client is different, we have to reframe that. We have to reframe that wording. So because a system doesn't replace your clinical judgment, it frees it. It really does. And what we're doing with templates is hoping to handle 80% of the sameness that comes with our clients, but the 20% that's unique to that individual person. Okay. We have this fear that systems are going to make us robotic, and that's not true because we change with each client, just like each client changes. If we're using a manual, does it make us depleted? No. As a hypnotherapist, and other hypnotherapists will know of the Big Red Book, and I started out using that Big Red Book pretty much every single time. Now I don't have to, but the Big Red Book, which it has just full of scripts, the Big Red Book, and everybody knows I can't remember offhand who the author is. I'll have to find out. But it means that there's a manual for you to start with. The beginnings and the end parts aren't in there, how to put somebody into hypnosis, how to bring them out again. That stuff's not in there. That's assumed knowledge from your training. but the script in the middle is in there to give everybody an idea. We're doing 80-20. I've got my own introductions, my 20%, and then I've got the script from the book, which I probably use about 60% of, and there's another 20% that I vary per person. Okay, so we've got our percentages of variations depending on what we're doing. With naturopathy, I see the same people regularly. With coaching, I often see the same illnesses on a regular basis, is what I should say, not the same people, the same problems is what I will see on a regular basis. So I'm not robotic. I just know what those problems are and how most people have dealt with those problems. So that's 80%. And then I've got that 20% from that client that's really individualized. So we want to build something that is really useful to us. So what I've created is a reframe. I've created a template for you to work from so that you can use my content that's in the strategy lab already. It's all there. It's just waiting for you to use it. Everything that I use is there. But then there's also this learning curve for you to be able to, so that it fits into your practice, and we can start from first base. So a system is not the opposite of care, okay? And a system is what protects your capacity to care, okay? And hopefully what's going to happen is you'll feel the difference between a practice that runs and a practice that runs you, because we want to be able to run the practice. We want to be in control of everything that's going on, don't we? That's why we don't employ other people, because we think nobody else can do it. Only we can do it. But if we put things into a system, then we have more capacity to do more and different things, to learn more, to understand more. So when we think about our nervous system, so the burnt out practitioner isn't lazy or disorganized. That practitioner is just running their entire practice manually and in their head and every day. So the work that I'm doing in my practice is I've built systems over time. I know what I can and can't do. I prefer not to see clients on the same days that I'm mentoring, for example, because it's almost like a different mindset for me. There's some things that I have moved to other days. I do paperwork on different days to the days that I see clients or that I mentor. I choose days to record my podcasts so that I can sit down and dedicate myself entirely to you and to your needs and to how I can help you, the listener, even more. So what we're going to do is we're going to be digging deep in the strategy lab with the workbook. It's in there with the content that's in there. So we're going to be creating, or we're going to be using 4 templates. And I've created them. I've done this in different ways over the years, educating people. But this time I've created this workbook so that we can really tuck into the templates. We can really look at how we're using our time. All right. So what I'm hoping is that these 4 templates will take the friction out of the clinical work. They will take the friction away from case taking, follow-ups, the treatment plans, and that bridge between consults. So if you've been to any of my webinars, you will know some of those wordings. That when I see you next is one of my big ones in the consult. And then when we see them next, we're saying, what has happened since I saw you last? What's the difference between now and the last time I saw you? So now, if you're on the public feed and you want the templates, because I'm about to take a little pause here and Ella, my editor, will put this part out to the world. And then if you're inside the strategy lab, you will listen to this part too. And then there will be the second half, which goes through those templates and the workbook. So everyone who's in the lab, come with me. Let's get into it. For people out there in listening land, think about it. Are you reinventing the wheel on every consult? Or is it that rather than reinventing the wheel, you do have those systems in place? By listening to me today, you've gone, yeah, I've got those, tick. Yeah, I'm doing that, tick. I'm in control, tick. And yet I can share and get other people to do things. I'm using systems that benefit me, support me, and make me that more capable practitioner, less likely to burn out straight up. So lovely talking to you. And I look forward to speaking to you all, or you hearing me next week. I hope that you have an absolutely brilliant rest of day, rest of week. And I'll look forward to catching up with you in 7 days. See you then.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. Bye for now.